Buck Martinez. Opening day is always exciting, but boy, we've got a great scene out here. 44,000 fans packed into Joe Robbie. Joe DiMaggio throwing out the first ball. And what I thought, I've been here many times, Buck, for the Dolphins playing at Joe Robbie. How's this going to look like a baseball stadium? It's baseball out there, no question.
Boy, it sure is, Chris. They've done a great job of turning this football stadium into a baseball stadium. There's a lot of personality. You look out on the field, the scoreboard is in left field. It's in play. There are unique angles throughout the outfield, and in fact, in right field, the fans can virtually reach over the fence and come into play. So it's a very exciting park.
Well, speaking of play, the park is exceedingly interesting, but will the Marlins be interesting? They have some names that people know, but no expansion team has even come close to 500. The owner, Wayne Huizenga, said in the paper, we expect to be contenders by our second year. Does he have a case here or what?
Well, that's very optimistic, Chris, but they have a very good team, and I don't think any team has ever had the kind of catcher like Benito Santiago, a four-time All-Star. He gives them a genuine big leaguer and a guy that can lead them behind the plate. It's a key position. You've got young players, and it's a guy that really is important. It could be a very positive first season for the Marlins.
I'll tell you who did not have a positive season last year, those veterans, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have some new veterans, but last year they lost 99 games. First time the Dodgers have been in last place since 1905. We weren't around then. Can this team drastically improve to be a contender, Buck?
Yes, they can. They certainly can, even if they just go out and get a regular season out of guys like Strawberry and Davis. The situation last year, injuries took them out of the lineup. Just 10 home runs, 57 RBIs, and these guys are counted on to provide some pop. They both feel like this is a payback season. They want to go out and show the LA fans and people in baseball in general that they can provide the punch that the Dodgers need. They've also improved the defense with Jody Reed at second base. Tim Wallach, a veteran, comes over to third, and those two infielders should take the pressure off of Jose Offerman at short and Eric Karros at first base. This could be a very plus year for the Dodgers.
We're looking forward to an exciting afternoon. Marlins opener against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Baseball in Florida. What a concept. Is there any question that this is Major League Baseball? Joltin' Joe DiMaggio threw out the opening pitch. And I'll tell you what, he can still fire it. The first ball here at Joe Robbie Stadium, thrown out by Joe DiMaggio. Let's play ball. Jose Offerman leads it off for the Dodgers at shortstop. Brett Butler, center fielder, had a great second half of last season, batting second. Darryl Strawberry hitting third and right field. His high school chum Eric Davis, clean up in left field. Tim Wallach over from the Expos, man's third base for the Dodgers. Rookie of the year last year in the National League, Eric Karros at first base. Tommy Lasorda's godson, Mike Piazza, behind the plate. Former Red Sox, now Dodger, Jody Reed at second base. And the one-time Cy Young Award winner, Orel Hershiser, bats ninth against the one-time Dodger, the knuckleballer, Charlie Huff.
45-year-old Charlie Huff beginning his 21st season in the major leagues.
And mark it down. First pitch was a strike. First pitch at 212. And was it?
A knuckleball.
The first pitch, surprise, was a knuckleball. 0-2, Huff ahead. Well, it's on every pitch here. This is going to be great.
Well, Charlie Huff was asked the other day what his first pitch was going to be, and he said it'll be strike one.
That's right. This is great. They're already looking for the first strikeout as if it's a Nolan Ryan mowdown coming up here. Oh, and he's punched out. Frank Pulley called the pitch on the outside corner. And the Marlins have won the World Series. There's one out.
Three consecutive knuckleballs from Charlie Huff, and watch this ball break down and away from Jose Offerman. Frank Pulley maybe feeling a little bit of the excitement, gives him the strikeout. 3 pitches and the first strikeout for the Marlins.
So with one down, Brett Butler is up. That pitch missed on the outside corner, and the obligatory boos. Last year, Butler, after he moved into the number 2 slot about halfway through the season, hit 362. He's more patient at the plate from the number 2 slot, and at least from a half a season, it paid off. There's a strike, 1-1.
Well, he was one of the few veterans that they could keep on the field last year, and he had another big year. This guy is a little spark plug. He makes a lot of things happen, and there are the numbers that Chris was talking about. 362 out of the 2 spot.
A little looper wide of third.
The Marlin defense behind Charlie Huff, Conine, a first baseman playing in the outfield. Scott Pose, what a story there. He won the center field job with a hot spring training. Magan and Weiss on the left side. They're not flashy, but they make all the regular plays. And Benito Santiago behind the plate. 4-time All-Star. He is probably, without a doubt, the best expansion team catcher ever.
Strike 3! The Marlins have won another World Series.
It's really tough for Charlie Huff, I'm sure, to keep a hold of his emotions on opening day, and the knuckleball is such a touch pitch. You really can't muscle it. You have to just allow it to float out of your hand. But boy, he's got command of it already. He has had trouble with first innings in the past. Let's take a look at the strikeout of Butler here. Once again, that floater. Santiago's done a great job of receiving that pitch.
Darryl Strawberry looks at strike 1, and I'll tell you, this is the first game ever at Joe Robbie. They're already booing Darryl Strawberry. They come prepared, right?
They know the game already.
Inside, 1-1. Charlie Huff doesn't waste a lot of time out there on the mound. 45 years young. Swung out and missed. 1-2.
They did a fine job of selecting Charlie Huff to be the starting pitcher because he's a veteran. He can handle all of the emotions, and he knows the Dodgers well. Of course, he started his career with the Dodgers.
1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. That one, I think he could have rolled to the plate and it would have got there just as fast. Crowd wants to see the punch out 3 times in the first half inning ever for the Florida Marlins. A little grounder. Huff in time. And just like they scripted it, a 1-2-3 inning for Charlie Huff. When we return, the Marlins at the plate. Bottom of the first at Joe Robbie Stadium. The team teal hats of the Florida Marlins all around. And here's the opening day lineup. April 5th, 1993. For Rene Lachemann. Scott Pose, center fielder. Leads off at almost 400 this spring. Brett put another shrimp on the Barbary, hitting second at second base. Junior Felix, former Blue Jay and Angel, in right field. Orestes emotionally Distrata, the cleanup hitter. Former Met Dave Magadan hitting 5th and 3rd. Behind the plate, Benito Il Duce Santiago, the left fielder, and this is a layup. Jeff Conine, the Barbarian. The shortstop, former American League Rookie of the Year, Walt 3-Blind Weiss. And the pitcher, he hasn't batted since 1980, Charlie Huff. Against the Bulldog, Oral Hershiser.
Put together a pretty solid season last year when you consider in 1990 he had shoulder surgery, up to 210 innings, 209 hits. That number's high, but he is just now regaining that intensity on the mound. Good running fastball. He'll turn it over and sink it. Outstanding curveball like so many Dodger pitchers in the past, and a great straight changeup.
Well, already Oral Hershiser looks like Nolan Ryan as he blazes that one, but a little bit outside for ball 1. When we arrived at the park about 20 of 10 today, Scott Pose was hitting off a tee underneath the stands. Hit almost 400 this spring and winning the center field job that was expected to go to Chuck Carr, a man much faster and a man who's a lot better fielder.
Well, this guy's a career .310 hitter in the minor leagues. Last year he won the batting title in Double-A, and he actually took the job away from Chuck Carr because of that solid hitting.
1-1 pitch. It's up high and outside for a ball. This was the one battle, if you will, for Rene Lachemann, at least in a season of battles. Carr in spring training simply didn't get it done at the plate, and Pose was .397. Ground ball off the glove of Hershiser. Reed adjusts. Karros cannot come up with it, and your first base runner for the Florida Marlins, Scott Pose. Hit or error? Going to be close.
They gave him a hit.
You have to, don't you?
You bet. Hershiser gets a piece of this comebacker, tips it. Jody Reed goes to his right, and then he's off balance. His throw is in the dirt, and Karros can't dig it out.
Safe anyway if he digs it out, I believe.
Karros believes he would have had him, but I don't think that's the case.
We knew at 9:45 that he would have the first hit. Of course, he's also the leadoff batter, so that's a good guess. But he was whacking it off the tee. Well, the scoreboard says a hit. Now we got word that it might be an error. We'll clear it up. We do know this. The Marlins have a base runner here in the bottom of the first. And Brett Barbary, the second baseman, opened up on opening day at third base for the Montreal Expos last year. And Latchman likes the way he handles himself. He and Pose are hard-nosed players, Buck.
Well, they give him a good 1-2 combination here. The thing about Barbary, he's a switch hitter. And last year he was moving to a new defensive position, third base, and I think it was a distraction for him. I think he was concerned about his defensive play, and it affected his hitting. This kid can hit.
Games underway already. A couple of them beginning at 1:30, and of course we'll keep you posted. Now we understand there's a scoring change. They're going to give Jody Reed an error, which I thought it might be, but after looking at that replay, Buck, I thought Pose would have beaten it out had Karros come up with the ball.
It looked like he got beyond the bag before the ball hit off the glove of Karros.
Now the scoreboard hasn't reflected that yet. The only reason I'm getting into this ad nauseum is that, you know, this is a day of firsts.
Sure.
And you got to know who had the first hit ever for the Marlins.
Well, the Dodgers believe they've improved their defense with Jody Reed at second. Tim Wallach at third also helps in that regard.
1-1 pitch. Now he goes over to take a look at Pose.
Rene Latchman believes that if you play the game properly, do all the fundamental things, play aggressively on the bases, start the runners, go first to third, that you'll give yourself a chance to win an awful lot of ball games, even though your talent might not be as good as the opposition. The Dodger defense, if you can keep Davis and Strawberry on the field, you've got a leg up on it. Wallach and Reed, we talked about, they should help out the youngster Offerman. Karros in his second full year at first base, and Mike Piazza, watch out for this kid. Only 1 full year behind the plate.
Ripped up the middle, past Offerman into center field. Pose will stop at second base. So there is your first hit for the Florida Marlins. Brett Barbary ripped the single back up past the box. And like I said, they scripted it this way: a 1-2-3 top of the first, and 2 men on for Junior Felix, Orestes Destrada, and Dave Magadan.
Barbary is not a guy that's concerned about pulling the ball, and he goes right back up the middle with a sinking fastball, gets it by a diving Jose Offerman. These guys will make some contact. You'll get used to their names, and Junior Felix is a fellow that's been around the American League, Toronto Blue Jays and California Angels. He's going to hit in the third spot for Rene Latchman.
And now a little confusion as Frank Pulley wants the baseball.
First hit.
There, of course, because Cooperstown will want it. In the back of the Marlins media guide, there is an entire page of about 35 categories entitled "The First Time It Happened," and about 35 headings: hit, attendance, game, batter, pitcher, time, etc. And we'll fill it in for you, or you can at home. It's a new way to score, at least this afternoon with us at home. The first time it happened. The chance of Darryl already as he looks out to the fans sitting in the right field bleachers. Meanwhile, Hershiser to the plate, misses up top and outside to Junior Felix.
Well, he'll be happy that the fans are on him, because that means he's on the field playing.
That's
he's
right.
healthy. He's looking forward to a big season.
Junior Felix came up with the Jays, of course, went to California at the end of the '90 season in the big Devon White deal. Holds back, but Frank Pulley calls it a strike. Frank Pulley behind the plate, Joe West at first, Charlie Williams at second, and Gary Darling working third base on this historic afternoon.
Estrada comes back to the big leagues from Japan. Spent the last couple of years over in Japan, played for the Seibu Lions last year. Power hitter, they expect big things from him.
Hometown product. Quick fastball up top that Felix couldn't get. Count is 1-2. No score. Bottom of the first. The Marlins with their first two runners aboard. Pose at second base on an error by Jody Reed, and Brett Barbary at first base on a sharp single up the middle. Charlie Huff, if you tune in late, struck out the first two batters that he faced and induced Darryl Strawberry on a weak 1-3 groundout. So far so good for the Marlins. Will we see their first ever lead? 2-2.
Hershiser really has that sinker ball running, and that's a positive sign for Tommy Lasorda because he's trying to come back from that shoulder problem. He logged 21 starts in '91 and then came back with 210 innings last year, and you look for that late short break. That tells you that Hershiser is healthy, and Tommy Lasorda needs to be healthy this year after laboring through a horrible season for the Dodgers last year. Poor pitching, bad defense, not much offense at all.
99 losses. That would qualify as horrible. In fact, the last time the LA Dodgers, they finished 35 games out of first place. The last time they were that far out, 1944, 42 back. Felix swung on and missed, and he will sit down. So Hershiser records his first out. Now here's a young man coming to the plate that is the immediate fan favorite here in Miami. Orestes Destrada, born in Cuba, came to Miami at a young age where his father taught him to play baseball. He's a local product, but as Buck mentioned, played the last, well, really 3.5 seasons with the Seibu Lions. 42 homers in 1990, 39 in '91, and 41 last year. So immediately, not only are you hometown, not only are you Cuban, as many in this area are, you also are maybe the power hitter, the Cecil 2, which he would just assume not here. Strike one. What I'm trying to say is this is an awfully heavy weight to put on someone's shoulders, Buck.
Well, it is, but this guy went over to Japan midway through the season and really did a good job. 30 years old. He's just spent a few days with the Yankees and the Pirates. But he is the type of guy that can hit. A couple of breaking balls right there. Find the mark.
Hershiser knows he can hit, so he's off speed with him. Switch hitter, which in this park, and we will, after the excitement of the first inning dies down, the next inning take you around the park. It's 345 down the right field line, which is a pretty good poke for a left-handed swinger. 330 down the left field line, but then that teal tower comes into play, that wall. Magadan on deck. Count is 0-2, 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the first, no score. Outside. One other thing about Destrada, you mentioned he played briefly with the Yankees, 9 games in '87, 36 games with the Pirates in '88, but that's it. He speaks English and Spanish growing up here and learned fluent Japanese. So he's a pretty good interview as well. Something to keep in mind. Did he go? No, says Gary Darling at third base. 2-2 the count.
When you go from the big leagues over to Japan, the Japanese pitchers have a tendency to throw you an awful lot of breaking balls, and generally hitters over there become better hitters, much like Cecil Fielder, because they have to be more patient, they have to wait their pitch, and they also have to expand their strike zone, so they become much better hitters generally.
That time he did not hold back, so after 2 are on, Hershiser has retired the next 2 via the strikeout rule. 2 down, 2 on for Dave Magadan.
Well, it looks like Oral Hershiser is returning to the form he had prior to the surgery. That's a late-breaking curveball. Destrada couldn't hold his bat back, went after it, and that's what a veteran pitcher like Hershiser has the ability to do. Even though he gets the first 2 runners on, he comes up with a couple of strikeouts, and all of a sudden he's 1 out away from getting out of this jam.
So Destrada, not emotionally Destrada with that strikeout. He'll have many a rip coming up. Dave Magadan, who can swing the bat, looks at strike 1. Magadan, lifetime average 292. Back in 1990, his 328 average with the Mets was the 2nd highest average ever in a single season by a Met. Only Cleon Jones's 340 in their miracle year of '69 was better. And just as Piazza is the godson of Tommy Lasorda, Dave Magadan is the cousin and godson of Seattle Mariners manager Lou Piniella. Magadan from Florida, up in Tampa. There's your scene. Ground ball is short. Weiss. A play made by Offerman over to Reed, and there's 1 inning gone here in Florida. No score. Stick around. All right, Chris, thank you. A day of firsts, both here in Florida and then generally in the '93 season. Eric Davis hitting cleanup today for the Dodgers. Davis, Wallach, and Karros. 4-5-6 for Tommy Lasorda. And there's the Nuxie again from Charlie Huff. And Huff so far working his magic. Ripped to left field. Base hit, and that could take a funny carom down there. Conine is over to field. It has a good arm into the relay man Weiss. And there's the first hit for the Dodgers in this '93 season, a double to lead off the second by E.D.
Take a look at this. Eric Davis, a very good low ball hitter. That knuckleball breaks down and away from him. He keeps it just inside the line. Jeff Conine gets over and digs it out, but Davis has a leadoff double here in the second. Boy, they need this guy to stay healthy, and he's swinging the bat well coming out of spring training.
Here's the first at bat as a Los Angeles Dodger for the veteran third baseman Tim Wallach. Wallach, whose childhood team was always the Dodgers, grew up a big Steve Garvey fan. So this was a dream for him to come and finally wear Dodger blue. He'd like to deliver right here. Huff fooled him on that one. 1-1. Eli in his 13th season, 35 years of age. Really slumped last year at 223. All-time hit leader for the Montreal Expos, 1,694.
Charlie Huff really has that knuckleball dancing, and he said that Benito Santiago has done a great job working throughout the spring, trying to get comfortable with it behind the plate. Man, he looks like he's in a rocking chair today. He is really sitting back and waiting on that thing.
Huff just steps off the rubber a little bit to keep Davis honest. No score, top of the second here, and a day they were talking about a 50-50 chance of rain. Here's a base hit to now it's off the glove of Junior Felix. The throw to third. Oh, and Davis is gone. Throw back to second, not in time. Well, we've seen when a knuckleballer pitches, everything happens. First, it looked like it would plunk down. Then Felix had the run at it. Then he couldn't handle it, but made a beautiful P to third base.
Tim Wallach does a good job going to the right side and lines this ball toward Junior Felix, who's coming hard, but the ball goes off his glove. He's lucky it hit him in the foot because it stayed right close to him, and then fires a strike to Madigan. Eric Davis got hung up in no man's land and then decides to go to third base, but the throw's on the money and he's out. Tough play for a base runner. You get out there and then you're going back to the bag. You see it go off his glove and you expect it to go further away from the outfield than it did. It hit Junior Felix right in the foot and stayed right there, and he was able to pick it up and fire a strike to third.
So 1 out now. Wallach on the 2-base error by Felix on at second base, and Eric Karros is up. 20 home runs in his rookie season, 88 RBIs. Rookie of the Year, the 12th Dodger to win that National League Rookie of the Year award. Santiago, who has the gun and has shown it off this spring, wanted to maybe catch Tim Wallach napping.
Chris, what this does is it raises the level of the defense for the whole ball club, because now the infielders always have to be on their toes. You never know when Benito Santiago is going to unload a throw, so everybody is into the ball game because he's so aggressive.
Pitch misses on the outside corner. Count is 3-0 to Karros.
You can see what he did last year, and this is a good move for him this year. Now with Strawberry and Davis back in the lineup, Karros can move down in the lineup where he really should be as a young hitter.
Here's a strike, 3-1.
Last year he had to be the cleanup guy and provide the pop. He did a good job of it, driving in 88 runs, but now he can sit back down in the bottom and relax a bit more. Mike Piazza, the young catcher, on deck.
Popped up wide of third. Does Magadan have room? No.
We talked about Benito Santiago working hard to get comfortable. Watch how he receives this knuckleball. Glove out there, then he relaxes his hand, and now he goes back and gets it like a butterfly net. He had a specially built glove made for him to catch Charlie Huff. It's not a traditional knuckleball glove that was simply an oversized glove. This glove is much like a first baseman's glove. Very light, not much padding in it, and he relaxes his hand and just snatches at it.
Ball misses inside for ball 4, so Karros aboard. 2 on with 1 down, and Mike Piazza up.
The catcher, number 31, Mike Piazza, the catcher.
Benito Santiago, we talked about the glove, and he had to go out and get a particular glove to handle Charlie Huff. Let's hear what he thinks about
I think
it.
so far right now, I ordered like a first baseman glove. Plus, the glove is really light, so I got a better chance to stay behind the ball and give me another extra minute. I mean, minute now, you know, another extra second, so I can wait for the ball and just let it call like you call it some flies, butterflies, and stuff like that.
It seems like a minute back there, doesn't it? So it's not your pizza glove, as it's called. Mike Piazza to Magadan. Over to Barber. The first double play ever recorded by the Florida Marlins. 2:39 on Monday afternoon. Heading to the bottom of the second, there's no score. Bottom of the second inning at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. No score between the Marlins and the Dodgers. Off the glove of Tim Wallach is the shot by Benito Santiago. And there's the second base hit in Marlin history.
It's going to take the players a while to get comfortable with the new surroundings here. Santiago hammers a drive toward Tim Wallach, and it looked like Wallach didn't really see the ball that well. He didn't react that well. It goes off his glove. Santiago had actually given up because he felt it was right at Wallach and would go for a line drive out. Bright sunny day, a lot of bright shirts there, and Wallach may have had trouble reading the ball off the bat.
A different background. I think Felix had the same problem. Buck in right field. There's a ball hit by Jeff Conine past the diving Eric Karros into right field. And so for the second inning in their existence, the Marlins have the first 2 runners aboard. Single by Santiago, and that seeing eye job by Conine.
Well, this is what Rene Lachemann was trying to teach his young team. Let's do the fundamental things, and Conine takes a shot toward the hole in right field, trying to find a hole. He sneaks it by a diving Eric Karros. Lachemann, as I mentioned earlier, wanted to emphasize to his young team, listen, we do the little things. We play the short game because we're not that talented yet, and we will give ourselves plenty of opportunities to win. He learned that from Tony La Russa, of course, in all those years at Oakland.
And speaking of, there's Charlie Huff about to take the on-deck circle, about to step to the plate in a major league game that counts for the first time in 13 years. You talked about Oakland. And here's somebody that Latchman knows very well. Walt Weiss swinging at the first pitch. So all three Marlins swinging at the first pitch in this half inning, Buck. That one was fouled off.
Well, when you're facing a guy like Hershiser, you know he's going to be around the plate, so you might as well go up there ready to swing. Last season, Walt Weiss just a .212 average, but Weiss is the kind of guy that Latchman wants to have around. Not real flashy, but he does a lot of things that can help you win ball games. Solid defensive player, handles the bat very well.
And rips it. Fair ball down the line. Rounding third is Santiago. He'll score. Here comes Conine to the plate. The relay. No throw. 2-0 Florida. Walt Weiss triple down the line at 2:43. The Marlins lead.
A breaking ball that stayed out over the plate, and he hammered it just inside the line down the right field line. Watch him pick up the coach. Now Santiago comes in to score. Jeff Conine's right behind him. And Walt Weiss has a 2-run triple, and the Marlins have their first lead.
There you go. Just like they scripted it. Well, they haven't scripted a plate appearance for Charlie Huff since he was a Dodger the first half of the 1980 season. Now, is there any way at all that that sign from Latchman is a squeeze?
Certainly could be.
I would think that's a possibility. That's what Karras and Wallach obviously are thinking on the court. Oh, Charlie with a Ruthian swing chops it foul.
He created a lot of attention during batting practice with that awesome swing. He said, "Isn't that something?"
We must say, though, Buck, lifetime batting average, and of course that's all his career in the National League with the Dodgers up in the middle of the 80 season, 203.
Well, he signed as an infielder, and he was a regular player, could swing that bat. It's just been a while since he's been up there.
Hershiser hits the outside corner. Count is 1-2. Frank Pulley, home plate umpire, the veteran. Huff. Does it get out of play? Yes, it does. And it's a big cheer for that. They're cheering everything here as well they should at Florida.
Yeah, he'd be able to put that ball on his mantle. Said Charlie Huff fouled me a ball in the first game of the Marlins. There you see it, originally signed by the Dodgers as a third baseman, so he knows what to do with that bat. It's just a matter of executing.
Tommy Lasorda, his manager in the minor leagues. A shifted him to pitcher. B was with him with the Dodgers late in the 70s when he developed the knuckleball. So Tommy Lasorda and Charlie Huff going way back, renewing acquaintances this afternoon. And Huff is struck out by Hershiser. ESPN's fourth year of baseball coverage continues tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. A couple of teams we haven't talked about as contenders for a while are contenders. Philadelphia Phillies and their hot catcher Darren Daulton. What a year he had last year against the native son going home, Doug Drapek. The ace for the Pittsburgh Pirates, now opening day pitcher for the Astros. That's in the Dome at 7:30 Eastern Time tonight. 2-0 Florida here. Scott Pose against the drawn-in infield, knocks in Weiss. 3-0 the Florida Marlins.
The Dodgers have to play the infield in, and Pose takes advantage of it, just slaps that ball in the hole on the left side of the infield. And this is the way he won the center field job, putting the ball in play. It seems as if every day he collected 2 hits. Coaches didn't really know who he was at the start of camp, and after day of watching him get hits, they all learned his name real quickly, and he ultimately won the job in center field.
Pose Here's Oral Hershiser, who has had the opening day nod many a time for the Los Angeles Dodgers for Tommy Lasorda. Now they're behind on opening day in Florida, a place where, of course, they spend all March. I mean, it's a bus trip for Los Angeles from Vero Beach, except for the fact that they had the Freeway Series this weekend, and most of them had to go back and play their home and home series with the Angels. Some of the squad, Butler, a few others, stayed here. This is Brett Barbary, who recorded the Marlins' first hit with a shot up the middle in the first inning. Here's your other scores. The game's underway.
Danny Tartabull providing the pop. Jimmy Key, the starting pitcher there.
No kidding. Well, I hope they're going to give us our scores in case we forget.
Chris Sabo hopes to have an injury-free season this year.
Fastball up top and outside for ball.
If this were last year and the Dodgers were down 3-0, the game would be over. They didn't have the offense to come back. Hershiser had a tough time away from Dodger Stadium last year, almost a 5 ERA. But this year they've got Davis and Strawberry healthy, got Piazza behind the plate, Karras with his 20 home runs. They feel like they can put up some numbers, so they're not concerned about falling behind early.
There's a strike to Barbary. 5 hits already off of Oral Hershiser by the Florida Marlins. 4 of them here in this second inning. Pose at first base. His single just a moment ago made it 3-0 after Weiss's triple drove in the first 2 runs in Florida history.
Hershiser will get a lot of ground balls because of that sinking fastball, and he was really pleased to see the defense, particularly Jody Reed at second base, and his ability to turn 2 all throughout spring training.
There goes Pose, the base runner, hit and run by Barbary to left, and this could be a double play. Davis the throw. Karras with the short pickup, and a perfect throw from Eric Davis to double up Pose. But the Marlins pick up a tray. 3-0.
Scott Pose was the base runner last inning. Latchman put the hit and run. Now look at the decoy at shortstop. Offerman comes over. Pose is not sure where the ball is. It's lined to Davis. Now he's got to hustle back to first base. Davis throws a strike to Eric Karras, and they get the double play. You got to pick up that ball off the bat. Find out where it's going.
Top of the third, Jody Reed, Oral Hershiser, and Jose Offerman up. So we've seen 2 good throws. Davis with that one, and Junior Felix in the top of the second inning when he threw out Eric Davis. So what goes around comes around, and what goes around right then is the bat. That went faster than the pitch, I think.
That registered on the radar gun. Charlie Huff doesn't.
Well, you heard what Charlie said over the weekend, and he's become the Yogi Berra / Casey Stengel of this squad. They said, well, what was your last fastball? And he said 68. And they said, miles an hour? No, not miles an hour. That was the year that I threw it.
Well, he doesn't need any fastball today. He's got good command of that knuckleball, keeping it in the strike zone. Jody Reed, of course, is familiar with Huff and his knuckleball, having faced each other in the American League.
Count is 1-2 to Jody Reed, the leadoff batter here in the third. The Marlins picked up 3 in the bottom of the second inning. Hats of all sorts, folks of all sorts. That's the ace Dodger scout, right, that discovered Fernando. At any rate, Jody Reed, oh, by the way, struck out by the Nuxie. Now, we told you, as Hershiser comes up, this is what it looks like when the Dolphins aren't here. It's 330 down the left field line. Now, you see that wall? It's got to go over the wall, the teal tower, which in the middle with the clock is 35 feet high. Strike 1, continue to it. Then there's a corner. That's not dead center. That's a little corner in center, left center field, if you will. Not dead center at 434. Ground ball by Hershiser. Magadan dives, throws, Destrada catches. Hershiser's gone. And then you get around from center field. It makes a little right-hand turn in right center at the 404 sign. Well, first we'll look at the play by Magadan.
Hershiser throws his bat at a knuckleball, and Magadan has been very good for Latchman so far. He's made all the plays, and right there makes a diving stop and fires across the field to retire Hershiser. Not flashy, but he'll catch everything that he can get to.
Jose Offerman struck out looking against Huff's knuckleball in the top of the first. At any rate, let me just get to 404 in right center. Then it's a straight wall all the way to the right field line at 345. A beautiful picnic area out in right center field for some of the fans to sit out in the open air, eat, and watch a ball game. They've done a real nice job here of also. It seats 73,000 for Dolphins games, but capacity is 43,909. There's that picnic area we're talking about. Much of the upper deck, or all the upper deck in fair territory, is not available to be purchased. The ticket up there, and they put the color up there that kind of silverish gray, that at night games it'll kind of disappear against the light. Because there's nothing worse than having a crowd of 30,000, which is a good crowd, appear like there's no one there in a football stadium of 73,000. So they want to make it a baseball-friendly 44,000 type stadium, a la a Royals stadium.
Well, and all of the different angles and the fact that the fans are really close to the playing field provide a very genuine baseball atmosphere.
3-1 pitch is pop foul, so the count is full. All sorts of souvenirs. Big day at the souvenir stand. Everybody wearing the teal hats. Color looks pretty sharp, if you ask me. A little hot in the middle of the summer. And Offerman takes the base on ball, so he's on with 2 out. Some of the other things that they've done here at Joe Robbie Stadium is Huff now gets set to face Brett Butler. You can buy a Cuban sandwich, which is an interesting concoction of pork, sweet ham, Swiss cheese, mustard, mayo, and pickle on bread.
Very tasty. Slightly toasted.
And arepa, which is a South American sandwich, cheese melted between 2 sweet corn cakes. You can also get a hot dog and a soda, don't worry.
Basic hot dog, but it's a little something for everybody here in South Florida, and I think it's going to be a huge success story before they're all said and done. They put together an outstanding baseball organization.
Here's Brett Butler. Pitch by Huff on the inside corner, strike 1.
Throughout the spring, there's only been one base runner that's attempted to steal while Huff's on the mound, and Benito Santiago gunned him out, even with the knuckleball.
Huff keeping an eye on Offerman.
Charlie Huff has always been very good to first base because of the knuckleball. He knows he has to vary his deliveries and be quick over there to try to keep the runner as close as possible. He's not concerned about throwing out a lot of runners. He just doesn't want the catcher to throw it away and allow him to go to third base on the air.
Fouled off on the left side.
Charlie Huff throwing to a guy like Butler, it's a tough matchup because he just doesn't strike out, always making contact, lots of singles. Nobody has ever led the league 4 years in singles. Brett Butler has a chance to do that this year.
Courtesy toss over to Destrada. They talked about 50-50 chance of rain, Buck, and the storm came through about 4 or 5 in the morning, and it's there's nary a rain cloud in the sky. It's perfect now. That's, like I said, they scripted it this way. And actually, they said a very nice thing. Joe Angel, the play-by-play man here with the Marlins, in the long pregame ceremony, said that Carl Barger, in memory of the president, whose dream, that large part of the Marlins being here right now, his dream, passed away in December at the owners' meetings. So Carl had arranged it with a weatherman. Very nice. remembrance of a man who's very important, even though he's not here to see opening day. He will never be forgotten, and all of them are wearing this patch for Carl Barger, long time with the Pirates. Came down here to get this franchise going and certainly got it going. He will be remembered. Offerman the base runner at first, 2 out. 3-0 Florida. Top of the 3rd inning at Joe Robbie Stadium. It just is a different roll off the tongue. Buck the pitch out, but nothing going.
They were guessing with Lasorda right there. Santiago wanted to pitch out. Offerman wasn't going, but this will be a good pitch to run on. 2-2, 2 outs. Number 2 batter up. If Offerman gets thrown out, you start the inning with Brett Butler, who is a very good leadoff hitter. I think Tommy Lasorda will go ahead and start him right here. 23 stolen bases. You start next inning with Butler and follow him with Strawberry and Davis.
Bluff's going. Butler waited on the pitch, a little nubber. Barbary fires to the Strata. He had to get the speedy Butler, and he gets him. Get your souvenir here opening day at Joe Robbie Stadium. We'll be back. All right, Chris Myers, thank you very much. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 3-0. The Marlins lead it, and they're 3, 4, 5 hitters. Junior Felix, Orestes Destrada, Dave Magadan up against Oral Hershiser. 2-run triple by Walt Weiss in the 2nd inning, followed by a single by Pose. Those are the 3 runs. Reed to Karros, and there's 1 out here in the Marlins 3rd. Now, we told you about, here's that scoreboard. The line score of every game in the majors is shown. The full lineups, manually operated. American National League scores, and inside we have a scoreboard cam. Manually operated. Put that 2 in, get it in, fire it down. Just like Fenway. Only maybe a little less crawling around behind the scoreboard here than in Fenway.
It's a nice touch. A step back in the past.
A shot down the left field line. A one-hopper off the wall for Destrada. Destrada into second base, standing up. The big Marlin slugger has delivered an extra base hit.
We mentioned the fact that playing in Japan sometimes makes a hitter better because you have to be patient, you have to expand your strike zone, and Destrada showed some of those skills by going the opposite way with a pitch on the outside part of the plate. He's a good-looking hitter that hits the ball to all parts of the field. Take a look at this. Piazza to the outside. That's a good pitch. Running fastball down and away from him. He just takes it the other way for a double.
Dave Magadan up, hit into a fielder's choice to end the 1st inning in his 1st appearance. Magadan, a good contact hitter. And the Golden Spikes Award when he played at Alabama, the best college player back in 1983. 10 years later, here he is in the 1st game of the Florida Marlins. Well, if you're keeping score at home, the Marlins have 6 hits and 13 at bats. As a team, franchise history, they hit .462. Think that's a lofty goal, Buck? You think they can keep this up over the year?
Yeah, it'll be tough to maintain that pace, Chris.
You sure now?
I think so.
Ground ball to second. Reed over to Karros with Destrada moving on to 3rd base with 2 down. Well, the average has already fallen. Benito Santiago steps up. He who scored the 1st run in Marlins history when he came around on the 2-run triple by Weiss after he opened up the 2nd inning with a single.
Well, he is very pleased to be here. It's a fresh start for him. He signed as a free agent. That's a different aspect of this expansion club. They could sign free agents.
Ripped up the middle. Santiago is 2 for 2, and the Florida Marlins lead it 4-0. Boy, when they wrote the script for this franchise, they're following it pretty well, Buck.
Well, Santiago knows Hershiser well, and the fact that he's always around the plate, he was ready for that first pitch fastball and rifles it into center field.
Jeff Conine up. Little number that could be trouble for Wallach. Big trouble for Wallach. Throws it wide at first. Santiago in the third. Runners on the corners. Well, that was trouble all the way, but that improved infield defense they were talking about. We've seen Reed and Wallach scuffle today, Buck.
Well, he's playing awfully deep, well behind the bag, and he's got a long run on this swinging bunt. Throws on to run, the ball tails on him, goes into the base runner. Karras had no play. And those two players that are destined to make this a better defensive ball club have had a rough day so far, but Conine with some power, and Wallach was playing deep at third.
Well, they're going to score a hit for Conine, but the throwing error that allows Santiago to move to third. So now 2 on for Walt Weiss, who in his first at bat as a Marlin with 2 on tripled down the right field line. Santiago with 2 hits, Conine with 2 hits. Weiss could really bust this open. Two 2-0 the count.
Tommy Lasorda says, now, I thought we were supposed to play better than this. It'll get better.
3-0. Well, why not? You've got Huff coming up next. Why even lay one into Weiss?
You don't think he took any good swings that first at bat?
Well, he was warming up, but still. Yeah, I didn't think we'd see a fastball down the heart of the plate. Well, here it is. 4-0. Bases loaded. 2 down. And Charlie Huff is up as Hershiser has thrown 46 pitches already, and we'll get a visit from Ron Peranowski, the pitching coach.
Just an opportunity right here for Peranowski to come out and remind Hershiser, just take your time now, regroup. Got the bases loaded, just one more out, you're out of this thing. Even with a veteran pitcher like Hershiser, once in a while it doesn't hurt to go out there and give him a chance to regroup and get everything together before he works to the next hitter. Plus they have to go over the scouting report of Huff with Benito Santiago at third base. Bases loaded. Conine 2 hits in the afternoon. And Walt Weiss reached on the walk.
Chop in front of the mound. Hershiser. Well, you also don't have Ricky Henderson running down the line either. The Marlins score another. It's 4-0. All right, Chris, thank you. As Huff takes to the mound, to borrow a statement from my former partner, Jerry Royce, this is real time. Some players you time with the stopwatch, others you time with the sundial. This is Huff going down the line.
Bases loaded. Look at him chug away. He had a quote in the local newspaper saying, I don't worry about rounding the base, I worry about getting to it. He also said he may be the only guy that grounds out to center field, and he was running at that speed right then.
Tell you what, the Charlie Huff quote book this year is going to be tremendous. But I mean, let's keep it in perspective as Huff works to Darryl Strawberry. I mean, he's 45 years old. I mean, there are a lot of folks who are 45 that just wish they'd have a chance to do what he just did. So, I mean, let's...
Oh, we're not getting on him by any means, and he knows what he's accomplished. 21 years in the major leagues, and he's still performing on a very high level.
1-1 pitch to Strawberry. It's grounded foul.
This is how Charlie Huff is able to compete. Look at that exercise. Strenuous workout.
What is it?
He's working on his wrist.
Fishing?
Yesterday in the locker room, they had workout. They've got a tremendous workout facility here, Stairmaster and Life Cycle, but Charlie doesn't need that.
That was his answer to the rowing machine. 2-2 pitch, skied by Strawberry. Pose and Conine over. Conine calls for it in left field, and there is one out. All sorts of folks here today. I think might be a football game here. Bernie Kosar is set high in the booth. Dan Marino's here. Don Shula's somewhere in the building. I mean, just to we've got football, we got baseball, we got excitement. That's for darn sure. You know, this is one of only 11 day games that the Marlins will play all year with the heat. 70 night, 11 day. And as Eric Davis looks at strike one, no day games from Memorial Day to the last week in August. And the only reason one of those is there is that it's a mandated travel Thursday afternoon game. So suntans at Marlins games, you better come with them because you'll only have 10 more shots to get one.
Well, you could see how hot it was during batting practice. All the players coming off really sweating. What a great day for an opening day situation. You know, it's not been a great spring down in Florida. A lot of wind, rain. This is perfect.
Hey, for those of us that live up north, we don't buy that. We don't buy that one bit.
To get some snow in Connecticut.
Yeah, we're still shoveling out, my man. Snow flurries Saturday morning. Eric Davis fouls it back. Davis doubled his first time up, but then was thrown out by Junior Felix. And the ball he had to hold up on looked like Felix would catch it, didn't, but Felix's foot stopped it, and then he gunned him at third base. Eric Davis and Darryl Strawberry last year played in only 31 games together. Strikeout by Huff. That's his fourth this afternoon.
And he's had good command of it all day long. And it's a touch pitch. You really can't overpower it. You got to allow it to fly out of your hand. Big swing and a miss. And Santiago's doing a great job of catching it. That pounding of the glove is if to say to Santiago, great job. Way to stay patient with it.
Nubbed foul by Wallach. The Jugs gun is working. Oral averaging about 86 miles an hour. Huff 67. That's barely over the speed limit.
Yeah, he wouldn't get a ticket for 67.
Or should. Grounded foul wide of third base coach Joey Cask of Amalfitano. And there's Oral in the dugout. Every 15 minutes and 45 minutes after the hour, this new on ESPN with baseball, we will give you the scores, little details. Roger Clemens naturally opening up for the Red Sox against Kansas City. The ball is fouled on the right field. Of course, that's in addition to our 28-58. So what we're trying to tell you is you will never be out of touch with baseball. The Rockies opening up at the Mets. Remember the Expos opened up at Shea Stadium their first year in '69, and they won it 11-10. In a year that the Mets eventually won it all. There's the view of the, well, like, they don't want to call it the Blue Monster here. A, the Green Monster has a patent on it at Fenway. B, the Blue Monster is the golf course at the Doral about 3 miles from here. So we're calling this the Teal Tower. Grounded to third, Magadan. Estrada. And the Dodgers are gone 1, 2, 3 in the fourth, heading to the bottom of the fourth inning here at Joe Robbie Stadium. Florida 4 and the Dodgers nothing. Bottom of the fourth inning on an opening day that Marlins fans will remember forever. Certainly if it holds like this, and swinging on the first pitch is Scott Pose, who is up now for the third time, and this is the bottom of the fourth inning. It's the first time he's been retired. Reached on an error, reached on a single. Now he's out as Jody Reed made the play. Here's your view of Joe Robbie Stadium. No Marino to Clayton touchdown pass this afternoon. A couple of safeties thus far scored by the Marlins. They lead at 4-0. The Marlins, it sounds like a sister name for the Dolphins, but Wayne Huizenga, the owner, likes fishing. knows that the Marlin is a fighting breed of fish. And there have been Miami Marlins minor league teams here in the past. Benito Santiago played on the Miami Marlins 10 years ago.
Take it back even further than that. Jimmy Fox was a manager for a minor league team here, the Miami Marlins, and Satchel Paige pitched on that team.
A little history there. Ground ball by Brett Barbery. Reed to Karros. 2 down. Here's Chris Myers.
Right fielder Junior Felix.
Looks like with those unis look like Ted Kluszewski rounding the bases of those old classic Reds uniforms.
They got the old vests back. Cincinnati's not ready to concede anything to the Atlanta Braves. They're gonna,
Nor should they,
put up a big fight this year.
Junior Felix up 0 for 2. It's a great. Those two teams could have the best 2 records in baseball. Could, even though they play each other. Well, it'll be less this year. The old 18. Oral looks better here. Felix reaching for that one. The count is 0-2. Oral has not had a 1-2-3 inning, but one more pitch can have one. Felix to left field, but Eric Davis is there, and there is the 1-2-3 inning for Orel Hershiser. Played for 4-0 Marlins. Here in Miami, there is plenty of joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey is outside the stadium. Casey at the bat. In bronze. As the, everything is dolphin and all sorts of football notation outside, but you wouldn't really know that. There's another example. Casey at the bat. Although you know you're in Florida as Charlie Huff's Nuxie is certainly working at Karros still as you head 0-2 between innings. Florida's favorite son, Jimmy Buffett, played come Monday. 4 lonely days in the brown LA haze. Very apropos song several ways. Good music selection. We always note the good music. Of course, it's tough to be up there with Oakland and San Francisco. They are the best. Baltimore's good.
Baltimore's got some good music.
Real good. Only 1 year though at that park in the new, so we can't count them in the A's and Giants league.
They got to have a history.
Yep. But I like their
off to a quick
rookie
start
of the year, like this guy. 2-2 pitch to Karros, slug to center field. Pose is going back. He can't get it. It's off the wall on a couple of hops. Karros into second base with the Dodgers' second hit and second double this afternoon.
Chuck Carr was supposed to be the center fielder with outstanding speed, but he's been pushed to the bench by the hot bat of Scott Pose. Pose basically is a left fielder, but he's been playing center and didn't really read the ball that well off the bat. I don't think he expected it to travel this far. Karros hit it on the nose and lines it over Pose's head.
So Karros at second base, and Mike, and this is also a layup. Pepperoni Piazza is at the plate. During batting practice, he, more than anyone, was the most impressive. Peppering shots to straightaway left field, even against the 5-10 mile an hour wind coming into the upper part, which we showed you earlier, where they don't sell the seats. The third deck. He can really poke them, and that's what Tommy Lasorda pointed out to us before the game. That last year he had 5 leadoff men in the lineup. This year he's got 5 sluggers in the lineup, with Piazza being one of them.
Well, Piazza had 24 home runs and 3 stops last year between AA, AAA, and the big leagues. He's got explosive power.
Got under that one though, pretty well to right, but Junior Felix draws a beat on it. Karros tags. Here's the throw. A real good throw, but Karros in just ahead of the one hopper. So twice we've seen the arm of Junior Felix.
Now, Junior Felix played center field for the Angels, and he has a strong arm. Dodgers not that familiar with Junior Felix. Piazza just gets under this knuckleball. He can hit him out to right field, but pop that one up just shy of the warning track. Felix does a good job of rounding the ball, gets his body into the throw. And it's a very strong throw that's just a tad late at third.
So the runner at third with one out, and here's Floridian native son Jody Reed. Played, of course, 5 seasons with the Boston Red Sox, where his career average was .280. Grew up in Brandon, Florida, played college ball at Florida State. A real spark plug of a guy, but it just went sour. There was no question that last year was going to be his last year in Boston. Frank Pulley signals the strike. It's 1-1.
Hershiser's on deck. Dodgers trail it by 4. Roger McDowell has loosened up. He's ready to come in should they decide to pinch hit.
Those shades on Mark Cressy down there. There's Roger. A little early for him to get up.
Well, the roles have changed somewhat down there in that bullpen with Todd Worrell signing on as a free agent, so they can push everybody down in those middle innings now.
Ripped by Reed to left field, base hit, and the Dodgers are on the board for the first time this season. 4-1 game as Jody Reed knocks in his first run as a Dodger.
Reed is a good offensive player. He is regularly capable of hitting 40 doubles.
Well, has done it 3 times, 89, 90, and 91. Last year was his first off season. Bunt by Hershiser, it's a good one, and he evades the tag by Destrada. So Destrada charging the ball has got to do it differently, Buck.
He's got to make a quicker decision, and Frank Pulley, the home plate umpire, did a great job following Hershiser up the line. He pushes it up the first base line. Now watch Pulley come out from his position to make sure Hershiser doesn't go out of the line, avoiding the tag. Destrada can't make the tag. Hershiser has a base hit. The Dodgers have runners at first and second. But what a hustling play by the umpire to follow Hershiser right up the base path to make sure that he didn't go outside of the base path, avoiding the tag. Heads up play by a veteran umpire.
That's why Frank's one of the best umpires in the game. And a heads up play by Orel Hershiser running down the base path. Now he's given himself a chance for his teammates to get right back in this thing. 4-1, but Offerman up, grounded through the hole on the right side. Rounding third base is Reed. The throw by Felix. He slides around the tag by Santiago. He's already signaled him safe. And it's 4-2. Well, the way the crowd started yelling, I figured Latchman was firing out of there. But the signal was made right away by Frank Pulley.
Umpires won't signal safe unless the base runner touches the plate. Offerman gets a base hit through the right side. Remember, Felix is throwing well all day long. Reed gets the go-ahead. Look at the slide by Reed. Santiago positioned perfectly. Look at him blocking off the path to the plate. But Reed sneaks behind him and gets that left hand on the plate. Pulley has good position to signal safe. Good play all around. Joey Amalfitano with the go-ahead to give Reed the green light at third base. Felix made a good throw. Santiago had good position. Reed just beat the throw.
And now you see the importance of the play. That's third base coach Joey Amalfitano with the signs to his base runners, Hershiser and Offerman, as Butler comes up. But Hershiser's play, not only did it give him the extra base runner, the infield was in with the 1 out rather than the 2 out. They might have made the play on Offerman. So it's Hershiser that really, his turn at the bat, that gives himself a chance to get off the hook.
Well, he's always been a good hitter and a smart player. He doesn't just go up there to waste an at bat. Heads up play to put the ball on the ground, now they're around to the business part of this Dodger lineup, and they're back in the ball game.
Big business. Butler, Strawberry, and Davis.
Could be that Charlie Huff is a little bit tired. First time out, 4 1/3 innings, 5 hits. They're starting to get to that knuckleball. Sometimes Charlie Huff will get the wind behind him, and as Chris mentioned, the wind is coming in from left field, and when that happens, that will push the knuckleball. Kind of takes away some of the movement. The breeze is picked up somewhat. It's coming more from center field, which would be directly behind Huff. Charlie loves to throw with a slight breeze in his face. That's when the knuckleball is at its maximum movement.
Fly ball to left, slicing toward the line. Conine almost misplayed it. Now makes the play, and Hershiser and Offerman go back. What a day it is in sports. And of course, here at ESPN, we're always there for you. Special Final Four edition of Sports Center. Coming to you from both Bristol and the Big Easy, New Orleans. Phillies and the Astros on opening day. Baseball tonight. Sports Center Final Four edition. Baseball opening day. The final game between Michigan and North Carolina. Of course, this is always the week of the Masters. It's a great week in sports. And a great scene here in Miami if you've tuned in late. Opening day for the Florida Marlins. They lead it 4-2. With the dangerous Darryl Strawberry up. Now getting his third look-see at Charlie Huff. And also it's the third time around for all these guys. Buck against the knuckleballer.
A little better timing, a little better idea about the movement. Third time up.
Strawberry gets under it. Coming on his pose, going back is Weiss. Weiss goes back on his back and makes the play. So the Dodgers pick up a pair, but Darryl Strawberry couldn't Texas League it, and it's a 4-2 game. Bottom of inning number 5 here on a beautiful day at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Marlins lead the Dodgers 4-2, and Orestes Destrada leads it off against Oral Hershiser. Destrada 1 for 2, doubled his last time up, and scored the 4th Marlins run. 3rd inning on a base hit by Santiago. 2-run triple by Weiss. In the 2nd, this one is way back to left. It's back, but not far enough. Eric Davis makes the play in front of the Teal Tower. Let's send it to our tower in the studio, Chris Myers.
Third baseman, Dave Magadan.
Kansas City picked by many to make a real run at that Western Division American League, and George Brett doubles his first game this year. Hal McRae, the manager, is tinkering with Brett's swing, trying to get him to adjust at this ripe old age of 40.
Well, that's his first hit as a daddy.
That's right. He can take it home for young Jackson Brett.
He tries to get 3,000 more for his son. It'll be tough. Here's a little hopper by Magadan. Hershiser over to Karros, and there's 2 out. Well, the Dodgers, you see that patch number 52 on their left sleeve, and that, of course, is in memory of their former teammate Tim Cruz, killed tragically with Steve Olin, member of the Indians, this past month. And of course, much has been said. Tommy Lasorda was a giant, the eulogy, but Tim Cruz will not be forgotten by anyone in this game, neither will Steve Olin. Santiago goes out 5-3. 4-2 the Marlins. Well, a new Marlin fan. They're all new Marlin fans today. The hats, the souvenir cups, programs, pennants, styrofoam Marlin heads. Got a couple of those. Busy kids. Yeah, oh yeah.
Marlin heads.
On the way in 4 or 5 hours before the game. Picnic area. That's a great place to have a picnic. I like that. It's out in right center field. And can have one of those Cuban sandwiches. Watch it bake right in the sun right there for you.
Now that could be the youngest fan in the ballpark right there.
And they've enjoyed what they've seen so far. 4-2, the Marlins leading the Dodgers. Swinging at the first pitch. Charlie helped Eric Davis, and Weiss on almost an identical play that he made to close the last inning against Strawberry. Weiss drifts out to make the play.
Third baseman Tim Wallen.
So it's been a picnic thus far for the Florida Marlins. Get a tan, get a sandwich, grab a cold soda, a cold one. Whatever you need at the park, we got it here. Fans so used to watching all of the two-thirds of the teams in the grapefruit circuit. 88 years ago, the first team came to Florida to play spring training. Frank Pulley signals the strike to Tim Wallach. Count is 1-1. And it's been a regular down here for so many of the ball clubs for over half a century, way over half a century. Now they play baseball for real. They've never been here in July and August, Buck.
It'll be smoking down here. That's why they haven't scheduled any day games in the part of the summer.
Saw a glimpse of the bullpen down there. Good bullpens for the fans to look in and see who's warming up. Chopper foul down the left and right field lines, but where the stands go in. Yeah, there's your view of the Marlin. That's down the right field line, but it's not in any cavern past in fair territory. There's Brian Harvey, the likes of which, as you point out, Buck, an expansion team has never had.
Now they've got a great catcher in Santiago, as we mentioned, and they have an outstanding closer in Brian Harvey. And today, with a 2-run lead, they might have just that game that he's been looking for. When you have an expansion club, two skill positions that generally take a while to develop from behind the plate in that short relief role.
This is slug to left field. Back it goes. Back. The first home run hit at Joe Robbie Stadium, 3:44 p.m. Tim Wallach, his first home run as a Los Angeles Dodger, his 205th lifetime, and the Dodgers have cut it to 1, and this, Buck, was your basic no-doubter.
Well, it goes all the way into the upper deck. Wallach knows it's gone. He just wants to see where it lands, and it hit high up in that upper deck. Ball is going to fly here, particularly during the daytime, and this is some of that thunder that the Dodgers feature this year. They can come back at you in a hurry.
Eric Karros up, and now it's become a 1-run game after the Marlins led it 4-0. Marlins with 3 in the second, 2 on a triple by Walt Weiss, and 1 in the third. The Dodgers with 2 in the fifth, and now the Wallach homer make it 4-3. Drops in for a strike. Count is 2-1 to last year's Rookie of the Year in the National League, Eric Karros. Karros and Santiago right there, a pair of guys that are National League Rookie of the Years, and Wallach, Butler, and Straw. Some ball players right there. This one is hit down the left field line, but hangs up there for Conine, and he makes the grab. 2 down.
That ball was in on the hands a bit. Harris didn't get out. Yankees put one on the Indians today. Tarnabo with a home run in that game. Matt Noakes. Jimmy Key starts, free agent, signed from the Blue Jays. Kansas City. George Brett with a double.
Kevin Mitchell, if he can stay healthy, I think the Reds have a heck of a chance to beat the Braves. That's the Colonel, Joe Klink, left-hander, former Oakland A, is out in the bullpen, where he hopes that he can be the lefty setup man. Chris Carpenter, the righty setup man for Brian Harvey. Klink struggled this spring, though. They wouldn't decided that he would make the team until this final weekend. Did have that 1 year, 2 years ago with Oakland that was very, very good for him. Won 10 games, if I'm not mistaken. 10-3 in '91.
Well, with Huff on the mound on a hot day, I think that Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach, and Rene Latchman, the manager, will keep a close eye.
Charlie Huff, he of the 202 lifetime wins, the 90th man to win 200 games, and of all those 90, the man with the most relief appearances, 418 relief appearances. He and Dennis Eckersley. As you look at young catcher Piazza, he and Dennis Eckersley are the only active pitchers to have started and relieved more than 350 times on each side of the ledger. Ground ball by Piazza, deep in the hole is Weiss. Throw to Estrada, and they beat the Dodger catcher. The home run by Tim Wallach. The fun fair at Joe Robbie Stadium. The fun is just beginning. It's 4-3. Back at Joe Robbie Stadium, bottom of the 6th, and that's going to be it for Charlie Huff. He can win, he cannot lose. And Orel Hershiser's pitch to Jeff Conine sails over for a ball.
This is in between the inning. Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach, is helping his brother Rene Latchman decide where they're going to make the switches, whether or not Huff has had enough. And it's a new situation for Rene because he's not been in the National League as a manager before.
Here's Jeff Conine, who promptly strokes his third base hit in as many trips to the plate.
When you're in the American League as a manager, you don't know about double switches and pinch hitting and all of that. You just leave the starting pitcher out there even though he's gone 6. But that's all for Charlie Huff, even though he's going to strap his helmet on and go to the box. But Rene Latchman said he's going to use Marcel to help him with the players moving in and out, and Doug Rader, who himself was a National Leaguer for a long time and understands more about that part of the National League game.
Walt Weiss up, 2-run triple in the second, walked, and on a hit and run play, Conine around second base, the ball past Reed, runners at the corners. So the bottom of the Marlins lineup, Santiago 2 for 3, Conine 3 for 3, and now Weiss 2 for 2.
Well, here's that short game we were talking about. Weiss with the runner off on the pitch, pulls it to the right side, gets it through the hole. Jody Reed can't knock it down. It goes out to Strawberry. Conine running, goes all the way first to third. And the Marlins trying to build that lead back up now, trying to protect the 1-run lead. Weiss delivers.
And we'll have the pinch hitter now for Charlie Huff. And it's going to be young Alex Arias. And you say, so what? Well, I'll tell you. And there's a shot of the bullpen where the Colonel is joined by Luis Aquino, just picked up recently. Say, so what, Alex Arias? Well, last Labor Day, some of you may have been with us on ESPN when he was playing for the Cubs at Pittsburgh. 5 for 5. So we know that he can at least hit the ball. And Ron Peronowski going out to the mound. And we're going to have the wheels change. It looks like Roger McDowell is on his way in. Well, the door is open and McDowell is in. So here in the bottom of the 6th, both Huff and Hershiser gone. 4-3. The Marlins have seen their lead cut to 1, but they're trying to scrap for more, and they have knocked out Orel Hershiser. Hershiser now sitting on the bench, relieved after 5+ innings of work, is responsible for the runners on the corners right here with none out in the 6th inning. And on in relief, the veteran and certainly one of baseball's good and funny guys, Roger McDowell. Last year saved 14 games. Here his numbers last season, gave up a lot of hits per innings pitched.
Well, he's trying to remedy that this year. He's adding a curveball to the mix. Sinker, slider, and now a curveball. It gives him a different look for the left-handed hitters.
Conine at third, Walt Weiss at first. Big situation here as the Marlins lead down to 1 run. Alex Arias, the pinch hitter for Charlie Huff, and a fastball on the inside corner for strike 1. All sorts of signs being flashed as Arias looks down at third base. Coach Cookie days of wine and Rojas Now Steve Wilson is the left-hander up there.
Ricky Trilasek is the right-hander, just acquired on waivers from the Blue Jays.
He needs another foul or two, Trilasek, doesn't he? Chopped at the plate, and that's foul ball. I mean, the brain trust. Well, here's how the Dodgers set it up, and they're pitched way in.
With nobody out, if they get a ball hit right at the middle infielders, they'll try to turn 2. But if they don't get a sharply hit ball, they'll try to cut the run down at the plate.
Arias, 25 years of age, from New York City. Brings his voodoo, well, not Tommy doesn't bring his voodoo doll, but Arias brings his voodoo doll Paul to the park, a la Luis Polonia's Joe Vu. That ugly thing that he used to put in the locker, pitchers outside. We started to talk about brain trust, and Rene Latchman, who of course has managed before in Seattle and in Milwaukee. He's got Cookie Rojas at third. He's managed some. Vada Pinson, longtime batting coach, heck of a player. He's at first base. Doug Rader, of course, former manager of the Angels, is in the dugout with him, along with Marcel Latchman, longtime pitching coach of the Angels. So there's a lot of experience, hands on deck here for the Marlins.
Now they put together a good organization. Cookie Rojas was actually a scout all year last year, and he scouted everybody. The Marlins did a great job of scouting all of the talent available. So when Rene Latchman went to the expansion draft, he knew about everybody that's named that was going to be passed through there. So they did a pretty good job of putting this club together. Plus, they had some money in their pockets, and they could go out and sign the Santiagos and the Harveys and guys like that.
Well, that always helps. And Arias swings it back to the mound. McDowell the second to Reed. So they get the trail runner, and a good play by Roger McDowell, looking the runner back to third and then getting the force.
Very heads-up play. McDowell with that good sinking fastball is always aware of the ball coming back to him. He gets the comebacker. Look at him chase Conine back there and still has time to get the double play at second. That's significant because the Dodgers have kept the double play in order. One more ground ball to the infield, and then McDowell may get out of this tough situation.
So runners remain at the corners now with the one down, and the top of the order, Scott Pose, who's been aboard 2 of his 3 times. One on an error by Jody Reed, the other on a single. That single drove in the 3rd run in the 3-run Marlins 2nd inning. 4-3, the Marlins lead, bottom of the 6th inning. Ground ball again to McDowell, behind Offerman, and then the run scores. So McDowell, who made a good play the first time, if he makes the throw buck right to the bag, they've got 2. The throw forces Offerman to go off balance, decide not to fire it to first, and Conine scores.
Watch McDowell. He doesn't really turn around quickly and positively, and the throw is to the shortstop side of the bag. Offerman does a good job of not throwing this ball away. This is the ball you've been looking for. He took one look to third base, and that hesitation cost him a chance at 2. That was the ball he was looking for, but it was to the third base side of the mound and really got him turned around.
Brett Barbary up now. That, of course, will not go as an error because fielder's choice and a no throw. But that is, again, where fielding could have gotten you out of the inning, but it did not. So the Dodgers, there's no question they've assembled a better infield and a better feel about what they're going to do in their field of dreams, if you will. But in game 1, it really hasn't surfaced, has it?
Now it came back a little bit, and it's kind of sneaking back into picture somewhat. We've seen Jody Reed throw a ball in the dirt, Tim Wallach threw a ball up the line, and now Roger McDowell got the comebacker that he was hoping for, a chance to get the double play to get him out of the inning, but he made a bad throw to second.
Here goes the base runner. The throw by Piazza's a good one, and it nails Scott Pose at second base. Oh, the arm of Piazza on exhibit right there. And the Dodgers escape, but not until the Marlins pick up a run. And after after 6 at Joe Robbie Stadium. 5-3 Florida. Hey, there we are with our Leaning Tower of Pisa banner under us. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez. And right below us, a guy a little more important here in this park. Wayne Huizenga, with the standing up, the bald head. Now he's being obscured by the gentleman in the jacket. And the guy sitting down low, I think you know who that is. Jolton Joe.
For the Dodgers.
Who out the first ball.
Now that's Mr. Baseball.
Yes.
The pride of the Yankees.
And an interesting note as we begin the 7th inning. DiMaggio here, part reason, well, he's welcome in any park, any time. But he was the idol of Carl Barger, the president who passed away last December. And in honor of Barger, they have retired the number 5, i.e. DiMaggio's number, with the Marlins. New pitcher for the Florida Marlins is Luis Aquino. And Jody Reed greets him promptly with a sharp single to left field.
Los Angeles, batting for McDowell.
Lenny Harris now. I'm sorry, Buck. Lenny Harris now coming up the back of McDowell. Go ahead.
Harris.
Lenny Aquino was picked up last week from the Kansas City Royals. He is scheduled to be the 5th starter, but they won't need that start for a couple of times around. Fastball, slider, and a very good changeup. He's a versatile guy. He can start for you. You can work out of the bullpen. And now Benito Santiago wants to talk things over here with his right-hander, maybe buying some time.
And while they huddle on the mound, let's huddle up in our Baseball Tonight, the Baseball Today studios with Chris Myers. All right, Chris, boy, it'll be interesting to see how many home runs Gonzalez and Canseco had. That was Juan going Gonzalez. Well, Aquino will be ready whenever they've got that 5th start because he's gone. And in comes the Colonel. We'll be back. Plenty of stuff on sale here at Joe Robbie Stadium, and I tell you what we got on sale is a good ball game here on opening day at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Marlins lead the Dodgers 5-3, but the Dodgers with Jody Reed on first base with none out, and the Colonel, left-hander Joe Klink, will come in to face. First it was Lenny Harris, but now Corey Snyder, pinch hitting for him, swings and misses. Snyder had a great year last year with the San Francisco Giants, and frankly, he was stunned when the Giants never talked to him after the season. And frankly, so was I.
Well, he's a very versatile guy that has got some pop in his bat. Right now, he's trying to get one he can drive out of here.
Snyder, when they got him, Buck, thought he would be the starting third baseman for the Dodgers. Then they got Tim Wallach, so he found himself as the man who will go in as soon as anybody gets hurt anywhere. And in addition to homering on opening day 3 times, he made a tremendous catch on opening day last year. Grounded in the hole. Play is made in time for the force. Weiss to Barbary, and Reed, the lead runner, is out.
Watch Weiss go to the hole, fires a strike to Barbary. They get the lead runner. So Klink comes in and gets a tough hitter in Corey Snyder, hit the ground ball. Snyder really is going to provide some added depth to that Dodger bench this year. And as Chris mentioned, he's a guy that can fill in all the infield positions and in the outfield.
Plus, he looks like John Daly, the golfer, PGA champion. Jose Offerman up, singled his last time up, is 1 for 2 with a walk. Joe Klink, native Oakland. Ball gets away from Santiago. He fires blindly. Whoa, down to second base, and Barbary does a nice job of keeping it there. The runner and head back to first. Snyder, because a ball 2 steps away from Santiago is dangerous if you're going to try and run on it.
Santiago, judging from how far that ball traveled, expected Snyder to be at second. What a play by Barbary to flag that errant throw down and keep Snyder at first. This is not your regular catcher back there. This guy is some athlete. He can really move around.
2-0 pitch to Offerman. He hits it to center field. Back goes Pose. Still going back. Oh, and he makes the catch in front of the 434 side. Snyder was all the way at second and left to go back to first. The crowd on its feet as Scott Pose just kept running back and flagged down the long drive by Offerman.
We talked about the tough angles here. Pose gets right to the warning track in front of that deep corner. You can see the corner jutting out there. Offerman hammered this ball. He thought he had plenty on that ball, at least to get it off the wall, but Pose stuck with it and made a fine defensive play.
We are getting our first view of how the ball travels here at Joe Robbie Stadium, and it first did not look like he drove it quite that far. And we've seen the Wallach home run just carry. There will be some homers here. This is not going to be a pitcher's park. As Brett Butler up. Santiago, the snap throw, and he tried to catch Snyder napping and almost did. I mean, the reason I say it's not going to be a pitcher's park, with 345 down the line, bucking a tall, the teal tower in left field, you would think that maybe it'd be a pitcher's friend, but not necessarily. Look at Benito.
Right on the money, and Snyder had to hustle back in there, get ahead of that tag. This guy will keep you on your toes and keep the base runners close to the bases.
Butler fires the bat. Click jumps. And we're gone. The first seventh inning stretch coming up at a standing O for Scott Pose.
Scott Pose in his first game in the big leagues has a hit, a couple of RBIs, and now with the glove saves a run at least, going all the way to the deepest part of the stadium. And the fans stand on their feet, high fives from his teammates, and what a day for Scott Pose. First day in the big leagues, having played in Double-A last year.
Big catch, base hit, first base runner ever in Marlins history when he reached down an error by Jody Reed in the first. Rick Trilicek is now on in relief here in the bottom of the seventh inning, as Brett Barbary, who was up when Pose was gunned down at second base in the sixth inning, Barbary gets the new count, but it's quickly behind 0-2. Trilicek delivers. There's a shot off the glove of Jody Reed into right field for a base hit. Barbary's 2 for 4. Here's Chris Myers.
Right fielder number 47.
That's great. There you go. All right, Chris, thank you. Junior Felix is up, with the Marlins leading it 5-3 here in the bottom of the seventh inning at Joe Robbie Stadium. Barbary the runner at first. Marlins led it 4-0. Dodgers cut it to 4-3, but the Marlins with a run in the sixth inning. Now with that 2-run lead again.
Trilicek was picked up on waivers here in spring training, and the Dodgers really liked his arm from the first day they saw him throw.
Gary Darling said he did go around, much to the chagrin of the Marlin fans.
This guy's got a very explosive sinking fastball, tough to lay off of. When he came over, they had him throw every other day to get a good idea about it.
Yeah, the good news last year is that Felix led his club in RBIs. The bad news is it was only 72 and it was low. Of course, you remember his father's Senior Felix, don't you?
Senior Felix Jr.
First seventh inning stretch ever at Joe Robbie Stadium. And they're up anyway, applauding the catch of Pose. Grounded past the diving Karros to right field. And Barbary on into third. Boy, they've been hitting, running, and getting it through the right side. I don't know whether it's just seeing eye ball Karros and Reed should be making, or a combination thereof?
I think it's a combination of both of those factors. More than anything, I think the Marlins are finding the holes today. That's a sinking fastball that's up around the belt, maybe too high. Karros dives at it, but you can see it just finds its way through the right side of the infield, and the Marlins have everything going for them today.
Here is their slugger, the hometown hero, Orestes, emotionally distraught. And boy, what a time it would be for this guy to deliver, but he delivers a ground ball to Reed. Offerman, Karros, he delivers a double play, but he does deliver a run. No RBI, of course, on the double play, but they could care less. As Barbary comes around to score, and it's 6-3.
Now they've rebuilt the lead to 3 runs now in the bottom of the 7th inning, and they're playing the type of baseball: get the base hits, go first to third, and cash in those runners when you have the opportunities.
Well, Rene Lachemann said we hope to be in every game, because with a closer like we have, as you look at some of the scores in opening day 1993 with Harvey, we really need to lead just 7 or 8 innings, not 9. And that's exactly the situation that he has right here. 6-3 lead, bottom of the 7th inning. Backing it up.
There's Doug Rader helping out Rene Lachemann again, looking at the Dodger lineup. What are the options for Tommy Lasorda, and what are the options for Lachemann?
Ripped to center field by Magnin, a base hit. Boy, those Marlins have pounded out 13 hits this afternoon. Magnin's first as a Marlin. Conine has 3. Weiss has 2. Barbary has 2. Matter of fact, everybody in the lineup except for the pitcher spot has a base hit. Now, he knows that too. Benito Santiago, 2 for 3. RBI single. Watch it. Into the dugout. And you want to see something that'll scatter folks in a dugout. Santiago probably embarrassed at that more than anything else.
The Marlins, lower part of the lineup, is hammered Dodger pitching today. 7 for 8. They've scored 4, driven in 3. Sometimes what happens in a series like this, where you don't know an awful lot about it, you'll concentrate at the top part of the lineup. Before you know it, those bottom guys are wearing you out.
Although we must say that with Santiago hitting 6 and Weiss hitting 8, it's not exactly like you're shocked that these guys are coming through. They're both rookies of the year. Santiago, of course, with the Padres, 87 when he ended the year with that 34-game hitting streak. Weiss, the A's, in 88. Rene Lachemann has himself an interesting ball club for an expansion squad, I'll tell you that much.
I talked to Rene about whether or not he was better prepared this time as a manager than he was when he first managed the Seattle Mariners and then went on to Milwaukee. He said, yes, I'm much better prepared now, having spent time with Tony La Russa and gone through playoffs and World Series. I understand what it takes to be successful and how you play winning baseball, simply by preparing yourself to eliminate a lot of the mistakes.
Fly ball to right field. Should be easy for Strawberry, although the fans let him hear about it. And the Marlins are gone here in the 7th. They pick up a run. Darryl Strawberry due up first for the Dodgers in the 8th, trailing by 3. All right, Chris, the beautiful skies in Florida, and they've seen the Marlins battle through the first 7 innings and lead the Dodgers 6-3 on 13 hits. And you're enjoying opening day of baseball here on ESPN. The Reds enjoying their opening day performance from Kevin Sing-along with Mitchell at the plate. In left field, here's Darryl Strawberry, the heavy metal for the Dodgers. Strawberry, Davis, and Tim Wallach, who homered here in his last at bat. Joe Klink on in relief. Curveball didn't curve inside. Ball 1 to Strawberry. Dodgers going to get in it. Here it is. Up top, ball 2. So Joe Klink. I always like the matchup between Joe Klink and Don Schulze for you Hogan's Heroes fans. 2-0 pitch outside, and this is not what Renee Latchman has in mind. Working with a 3-run lead, and here's a position where you almost do 4 pitchers and you put 1 guy on. But Strawberry taking all the way. It's 3-1. Eric Davis on deck. Here's the free pass to Strawberry, so already little danger.
Looked like he threw a 3-1 breaking pitch too, which surprises me with the 3-run lead that you mentioned, and Latchman quickly out of the dugout. He's going to go to Pulley. I think he thinks there might be something wrong with Klink. No, he's going to make a double switch. This is the first double switch in Marlin history.
That's right. 4:23 p.m. First pitch was a strike by Huff, was a knuckleballer. And they're going to go to
Chris Carpenter.
Whose birthday today? 28th birthday today for Chris. If I were a Carpenter, he'll come in and try and hold the lead for Brian Harvey, time in the 9th. We'll be back. These double switchers are just hard to keep track of, aren't they? My glove, my hat. What's going on here? Well, young man, I'm going to tell you. Chris Carpenter, on his birthday, is the new pitcher. Good job setting up a couple of years with the St. Louis Cardinals. That's his numbers last year from the Cards. On the double switch, Destrada comes out of the game. Chuck Carr, very good defensive center fielder, is in center. Scott Pose stays in the game, goes from center to left.
33.
And Jeff Conine, the Barbarian, goes to first base. So Carr bats in the pitcher spot, and the pitcher Carpenter bats in the 4 spot. 6-3. Florida leads. Strawberry at first, none out in the 8th. Eric Davis up, always dangerous.
This matchup right here may favor the Dodgers, even though it's right against right, because Davis is a dead low ball hitter and Carpenter throws a lot of strikes low in the zone. Fastball up top. Good stuff. 4-seam fastball right there. He's thrown the ball well. Only had 1 bad outing in the spring. As Chris mentioned, worked very effectively as a setup guy for the Cardinals.
10-4 in the '91 season with St. Louis. Shot foul ball. And they're booing, the fans are, because yes, it was fielded just inside the line, but it was foul leaving the plate, and the umpires were right on it. They've had a good game. Pulley, West, Charlie Williams, and Gary Darling, who made that call.
Darling at third base was the target of the boos, but the ball was dead at the plate when it hit Davis off the foot.
Count is 1-2 to Eric Davis. He tried to take a little bit off. Looked like a slider up top. All right, I'll let you call the pitches. That's dangerous with you sitting behind the plate for all these years and me trying to call them. Well, I can call that Brian Harvey's coming in the 9th, can't I? Count is full on the heater that missed. They do better that time?
Very good. Good fastball. Carpenter has a forked ball, and it's been a very good off-speed pitch for him. Fastball, forkball, slider.
Big pitch on the way to Eric Davis. Pop, foul, and although Santiago will give it the look, it's not like the shades underneath the mask. Of course, we're only just beginning here with our 4th season of coverage of Major League Baseball. We go from Joe Robbie Stadium under glass. We go to the Houston Astros home opener with Doug Drabeck on the hill, 7:30 Eastern time, against the suddenly contending Philadelphia Phillies. Darren Dalton nails Lenny Dykstra. A couple of teams that haven't talked pennant for a while, but they're talking it this year. Count remains full to Eric Davis. Strawberry on first, none out. Check swing. Good play made by the pitcher Carpenter over to first to at least get the out. That almost was big trouble, because you don't exactly charge in with Eric Davis at the plate.
No, the infielders have to play deep, and that could have been a tough play for the left side of the infield. Carpenter dives off the mound, knocks it down. Davis is retired, probably upset with himself and going after a borderline pitch on a 3-2 count. Little tapper back toward the mound.
And another conference on the mound here at Joe Robbie Stadium. This time it's the pitching coach Marcel Latchman. And Frank Pulley saying to Marcel, hey, no pantomimes out there, Marcel. Just deliver your message and get out of here.
Frank Pulley is out on the mound, and now the trainer Larry Starr is out to check. Carpenter may have injured himself fielding that ground ball as he dove off the mound. Let's take a look at it. Check swing tapper to the third base side of the mound. He goes down, hits hard on the ground, gets to his feet, and throws Eric Davis out. But they're going to check with him. He's a tough guy, though. He's a former football player at Georgia, so he can handle these things. Down quickly. Throws out Davis. Looks like he's okay. He's going to continue. Frank Pulley waves off the trip to the mound, signaling to the that's not a trip, that was an injury. Brian Harvey standing by. Looks like he's ready to go. That's what they got him for.
Got their lead here on opening day. It's Carpenter's job following Klink to keep it as such. 6-3 lead. Strawberry at second base, one out in the top half of the 8th inning. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez with you. And what a thrill it is for us to be here on the Florida Marlins opener. Oh, Tim Wallach, who homered deep to left field, swings and misses.
Wallach is a very good low ball hitter, too. Almost a dead low ball hitter. He has to fight to lay off that high fastball and went fishing after that first pitch from Carpenter. Trying to work him upstairs.
1-1 the count with Eric Karros on deck. Tommy Lasorda shouting encouragement. His 44th opening day as player, manager in the minors, manager in the bigs. 44 opening days. Malfitano's in there. He told me, I don't know, it's either my 35th or 36th. I forgot. They get that feeling too, though. It's a special day, and special here knowing that it's the Marlins inaugural game, and a good off-speed pitch that time that gets Wallach fishing.
Carpenter came with a forkball and had Wallach way out in front. What's the reaction here? Oh, bottom falls out of it. Good change of speed there. Hitter swings at the arm speed. With that forkball, you can come through with a real fast arm speed, and then the ball just disappears.
Good play by Santiago on a pitch way outside, even to count it 2-2.
Latchman was really surprised when he saw Santiago play on a daily basis, just how good and athletic this guy is behind the plate. He said, you can't teach catchers to catch like Santiago does. He does some things that are very unorthodox, but he is such a gifted athlete that he can scoop balls backhanded.
Foul back. Santiago coming up, you could tell right away he was special, much as you could tell Tony Pena was special when he came up.
Yeah, they're just different behind the plate. They have a sense of when to snap that throw down to first base. Santiago has thrown out 3 runners from his knees, picked off another 3 during spring training, and he's got a renewed enthusiasm about baseball. You could sense it today talking to him during batting practice.
Swung out and missed. The heater by Carpenter up high, as you suggested, Buck, and Wallach sits down. There's 2 out.
Well, if you can work your way through this part of the Dodger lineup, you've got a leg up on it. Wallach goes fishing upstairs. Carpenter comes right at him. Looked like a breaking ball. Actually stayed upstairs, but it was hard enough to get it by And
now with 2 out and Strawberry at second base, Carpenter will face Eric Karros. 1 for 2. Doubled and scored back in the 4th inning. Strike 1. You know, we're talking about good catchers, and just want to mention there was a conversation at home plate. A couple of guys working, A on radio, B on TV. Pretty good conversation of catchers when Johnny Bench and Gary Carter talked at the batting cage. Would you not say?
Oh, definitely. One in the Hall of Fame and one got a shot at going.
One's going to go. The other one will go. Carter working here on the Marlins TV crew. Johnny Bench, of course, working for CBS Radio. Count is 0-2 to Karros. One more strike and the Marlins will be out of the 8th inning. They lead at 6-3. Runner at second. 2 out. Foul back. Got a crowd senses it too. They've had a great afternoon here at Joe Robbie. You know, it's nice one day, 50 years from now, or in the year 2525, to quote Zager and Evans, whenever it is that the Florida Marlins are in the World Series, they may trot this tape out one time when we're long gone and say, who were those guys that did that game? Didn't they know anything about the sport? I like that.
Part of history.
Him off. At least he took a little bit off the pitch so he could get out of the way, did Karros. Well, 0-2. We'll give him something to think about.
Well, it's a situation. Hey, you're ahead of them, count. Just throw one up there so they don't get too comfortable. I need half of that plate.
This half. 1-2 the count. Up the middle, but they haven't played perfectly. Barbary over to Conine. And the Marlins get out of the jam. We're headed to the bottom of the 8th at Joe Robbie Stadium. Florida 6, the Dodgers 3. And we're back at Joe Robbie Stadium with the Marlins leading in the bottom of the 8th inning, 6-3. They've pounded out 13 hits. They've seen Charlie Huff's knuckleball work. They've seen the setup men get it ready for Brian Harvey in the 9th inning. Basically what they've seen is room service.
This is exactly the kind of game Rene Lansman was trying to get out of his ball club, and Charlie Huff came out with a great knuckleball early, and then they got back to fundamentals, getting those singles, going 1st to 3rd, and another base hit for the Marlins.
Boy, the Marlins break them up here as they start the bottom of the 8th inning off with Jeff Conine, who just ought to retire. He's 4 for 4 today. Just forget it. Just retire. He's in the Marlins Hall of Fame.
Off to a great start in the '93 season. Jeff Conine's been waiting for this a while. He came up in the Kansas City Royals organization and has just collected his 4th hit off Ricky Trilochek.
Speaking of hitting stars today, Walt Weiss. He's 2 for 2 with a walk. The biggest blow of the game is 2-run triple in the 2nd inning, which gave the Marlins the 2-0 lead. First RBIs in Marlins history go to Walt Weiss. Can't lay the bunt down, fouls it back. Obviously, they would just love another run.
Well, they're going to have to play this type of baseball all year long to stay competitive. They don't have a whole lot of power, and they have to play fundamentals and go 1st to 3rd, take advantage of a leadoff single late in the ball game. So you might as well continue those skills and start them early right here on day 1.
Well, if you're going to tell Rene Lansman that your ball club's going to hit .424, which is what they're hitting today, I think he'll take his chances this year, and those 1,000,000-to-1 odds that I saw in the paper today for them winning the World Series may come down a tad.
Yeah, I think he'll want to go back in and renegotiate his contract.
Yeah. Or at least certainly buy a house down here, because he may be around a while. He will anyway. Nobody's expecting pennant here right away, but they are expecting excitement, and they've given the fans that today. And we'd like to wish, of course, the Colorado Rockies underway in New York with their opener on Friday. Welcome aboard, the Rockies and the Marlins. Weiss lays off, 2-1.
Rookie manager Don Baylor gets a chance to work at a job he's been looking for a number of years.
There's Cookie, Days of Wine and Rojas giving the sign down at there. Of course, the old double play combination for the Phillies was Bobby Wine and Cookie Rojas once upon a time. They're chanting Darryl just because they want to. You pays the money, you does what you want.
Well, they know that that's the way you treat a superstar like Darryl Strawberry when he's on the road. He's blowing kisses to them out there now. He's happy to be back.
Here goes the runner, slapped to third, and Wallach, because of the hit and run, can only play to first base. Runner moves up to second. We move to Chris.
Number 21, the center fielder, Chuck Carr.
All right, Chris, thank you. The Miami fans still yelling at Darryl. Now they get a chance to look at.
Come on, I can't hear you.
What's going on here? I've only played here for 8 innings. What did I do? Here's the man who may one day be the regular center fielder here. Chuck Racing Car. He's fast. And he's excellent defensive outfielder. Last season, you see a AAA hit 308, but hit below 200 this spring and setting a tone. Latchman wanted hits, and Pose certainly has set the tone today. Also made a great catch. Here goes the runner to third. Piazza's throw, not in time. Conine is still in third. Aggressive baseball by the Florida Marlins this afternoon.
The element of surprise helped Conine get down to third base. Look at the jump. Trilicek forgot all about it. Piazza makes a strong throw, but is simply too late. Look at Piazza. He looks like a veteran catcher back there. He's thrown well all day long, but he doesn't have enough time to get Conine.
Counters 1-1 to Carr. Bounce to the right side. Reed takes a look and flips the Carols. 2 down. Runner stays. Oh, by the way, as the Marlins lead at 6-3 with Scott Bowes coming up.
Number 2,
Expansion. 2 and 61, 2 and 62, 69, 77, 68. They're 7-3 on opening day.
A lot of adrenaline here for the expansion teams.
Don't walk away, Rene Latchman. You're up 6-3.
You can make them all fit, can't you?
No, give me a 3-hour broadcast and I can do it. Pose fouls it back. Well, all right, and this is obscure, but when Latchman brings in Carpenter, as he's done, Ira Carpenter and Don't Walk Away Renee, both of those songs originally done by other artists. The Four Tops recorded both of those songs. Now I know who cares. I thought I'd throw that bit of minutia in and immediately get nailed for it in our production meeting. Pitch to Pose is down and inside. It's 1-1. As we look at other scores, at 15 and 45 past the hour, in addition to 28 and 58. Pat Kelly with a big day. The Yankees in Cleveland, a packed house. They're an emotional day in Cleveland for sure. Broken bat. Trilicek snares it over to first, almost threw it away. But as we head to the 9th inning, it's Brian Harvey's job to nail it down. Can the Marlins leave today in first place? 46,115 on hand for opening day. The old-fashioned scoreboard in left field tells the story. The Florida Marlins, 14 hits. They lead the Dodgers 6-3 in the 9th inning. And first, the first hit, Brett Barbary. The first Marlin run scored by Benito Santiago. Walt Weiss with the first RBI, the first pair of RBIs with a triple in the 2nd inning. Jeff Conine, first 4-hit game, he's 4 for 4. Charlie Huff threw the first pitch, which was a strike, threw the first strikeout on the first batter. And will Brian Harvey record the first save, Buck?
Well, that's what they got him for, and they weren't sure how many opportunities they would have for Brian Harvey, but the Marlins are up by 3 here in the 9th inning, and they go to their closer, Brian Harvey. Good fastball and an outstanding forkball. That's his bread and butter pitch.
And Harvey faces 7, 8, 9 in the order. Piazza, Reed, and obviously a pinch hitter for the pitcher, Trilicek. There's the youngster, the godson of Tommy Lasorda, Mike Piazza, Pennsylvania. Harvey, a couple years ago, was just untouchable with the Angels at 46 saves. Question: big salary expansion team. A lot of folks have claimed with specific names that he may be going to the Braves in a trade. Merker's name, Dion's name, Waller's name, but here's a strike to him. Buck, we talked with Dave Dombrowski. It doesn't sound like they have plans to move him right now.
No, evidently they haven't had any real formal offers or entertaining any trades at this time. A lot of people have been watching Harvey. The Braves have scouted him almost every time he's pitched down here in Florida. They say they will use Harvey in the best interest of the team, if that's to close and if that's to stay here. But if they get an offer for a couple of frontline players and maybe an everyday player that's a legitimate big leaguer, they might just swing that deal. But right now, Brian Harvey is the closer, and they've got a good relationship. Marcel Latzman was the pitching coach for the Angels, and that's who Harvey enjoyed his success with out in California.
Pitches in the low 90s, 93 miles an hour. Piazza, who can stroke it, strokes it to right field in front of Junior Felix, and the Dodgers have the leadoff man on here in the 9th inning.
Harvey fell behind and never really could get to that forkball. Left the ball up out over the plate. Piazza gets his first hit of the day.
So don't close the book on this one yet. Jordy Reed is 2 for 3, including an RBI single in the 5th. Scored a run. And Reed looks at ball 1. Dave Hansen has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher, Trilicek. Harvey having trouble finding the plate. It's behind 2-0. Oh, those closers, they're great when they come in and mow you down. But even the big name guys, Buck, it seems, put a little extra gray hairs on the managers.
It's not an easy job, and I think that's why you really have to pay tribute to the Dennis Eckersley, the Raleigh Fingers, and the Goose Gossages of the world, because they go out there with the game on the line every single time they work.
Reed to left field. Pose coming on. Makes the catch. There's one out here in the Dodger ninth. Big day here at Joe Robbie Stadium and a big night here on ESPN, the Sports Center, Final Four edition. Our opening day action continues with the Phillies at the Stros at 7:30. Drabek on the hill for the Stros. Baseball tonight at 10:30, and then Sports Center at 11:30. There's Wayne Huizenga, the owner of the Florida Marlins. He's shaking hands, but he'll learn not to do that in this sport yet. For those of us that saw the Phillies get 9 in the 9th against the Dodgers on an August evening in 1990 after they trailed 11-3, you don't ever shake hands until the proverbial fat lady sings. Dave Hansen, pinch hitter, is up and looks at ball 1. Offerman on deck. And it's a strike. Count is 2-1.
Let's go.
Tommy Lasorda looking for some ninth inning magic. Oh, there's a pitch, a tough pitch right on the outside corner, 2-2.
That's a great combination of pitches because he throws so hard and he has pretty good command of it. Good movement, catches the outside corner, and once again Santiago with those soft hands gives Frank Pulley a good look at that pitch.
Stroke to right field, coming out. Oh, Junior Felix, and here's the throw. Piazza almost was not paying attention to the throw. It almost doubled him up. So Junior turned the fly ball into a circus, then almost recorded the double play. And they're down to 1 out, and 46,000 are on their feet.
Hansen hits it on the nose. Felix almost runs by it, has to reach back and make the catch, and then fires to first base. Boy, what a day for the Marlins fans. A little bit of everything. They had a pregame show. They got to see Joe DiMaggio.
Walt Weiss, 2-run triple. Jeff Conine, 4 for 4. Charlie Huff looking at win 203 lifetime. Huff, who grew up here after he was 12 years old, moved his family from Rhode Island here, went to Hialeah High School, met his wife, graduated in '66. Charlie Huff graduated high school before 9 guys on this Marlins manager were born. He stands to win if Harvey nails it down against Offerman. There's a strike. 1 and wide. The only team to go south after spring training, the Florida Marlins, look to go north to the top of the standings. 1-2. We'll let the crowd tell you what's going on. How about that? Count is 2-2. Piazza at first. 2 down. Got your ninth. 6-3 Florida. The Marlins win! The Marlins win! Break them up! They're in first place in the National League East. 46,000 fans ecstatic with the Marlins beating the Dodgers 6-3. Buck, it was great.
You couldn't have written the script any better. Brian Harvey gets his first save. Benito Santiago does a good job behind the plate. Charlie Huff picks up a win, and the script was perfect for the Florida Marlins.
Their magic number now 161 as the Marlins beat the Dodgers 6-3. Renee Latchman and the new era of Major League Baseball here in Florida. Don't forget, 7:30 tonight, the Phillies and the Astros. For Buck Martinez, this is Chris Berman saying so long from Joe Robbie Stadium. 6-3, the Marlins win it. Now let's kick it over to Chris Myers.